that story is the very beginning of this book, and you'll see that in here. Okay, the magic of gun control. And so I got all excited, of course. They're going to pay for the whole thing. They have lawyers ready to go. And I said, we're going to sue on the Second Amendment and prove, finally, that it protects a God-given right to self-protection. And he interrupted me. He goes, Sheriff, calm down. We're not even suing on the Second Amendment. And I said, even I know that's what you do. You're the NRA. And he goes, we have no standing on the Second Amendment, and you don't either, because all law enforcement is exempt from the Brady-Bill background checks. And I said, well, what paperwork are you preparing then? And he said, a 10th Amendment challenge. It's airtight. And I said, states' rights? He goes, yes, states' rights. He said, the federal government can't tell you to do anything. And I got this big smile on my face, and I said, even better. I like that. That's why I did this. They can't tell me what to do. So I said, and now, after all he just offered, I'm taking a chance of totally offending him. I said, I really appreciate all you're offering and all you're doing here, and I hope we become very good friends and all this, but I said, I want my own lawyer. And I said, I don't want this just to be the NRA case. So I want my own personal lawyer in this. And he said, great, we'll work with your lawyer. I said, oh, wow, this is getting easier all the time. And I said, can I ask you another question? And he goes, sure. Can you recommend a lawyer out here in Arizona that knows and understands the Second Amendment and the Constitution? And he goes, sure, Dave Hardy in Tucson. He used to work for us. And so I called Hardy. They had his number. And I hired Hardy as my lawyer, and on February 28th, 1994, in Federal District Court in Tucson, Arizona, my lawyer with the NRA lawyers filed Mack versus U.S. in the courtroom of one Judge John M. Roll. Now, some of you might know that this was one of the greatest judges in American history, and he was murdered in Tucson on January 8th, 2011, during the assassination attempt on Congresswoman Gifford's life. Oh. He stepped in front of a bullet for somebody else. There's a chapter in my book dedicated to Judge Roll and all he did to change my life and all he did for me. You lawyers here, you know darn well the federal government tried to get me for technicalities, remove me from the case, remove me for lack of standing, and all the other things they tried to do and all their little shenanigans. Judge Roll sided with me every time. And something happened amazing that I still think applies, I don't think, that I know applies to what's going on today. At one point, the lawyer for the federal government broke protocol. I'm up on the stand. This is the only time that any of the 7 sheriffs testified was at the district court level. The rest of the time, it's all transcripts and finagling with lawyers. But the only time we testified was at the district court level. Circuit court, no. And the Supreme Court, no. Each side gets a half an hour there. That's it. Okay? And it's just a review. It's a review. And then the Supreme Court just start firing darts and spears and just play devil's advocate and really go after you. Except Justice Thomas. He never says a word. Okay? That's his MO. Okay? So, Judge Roll, at one point, when the lawyer was talking to him, I thought my lawyer was going to interrupt and object, because the lawyer for the federal government was trying to submit evidence. And you can't just be cross-examining a witness and then start giving your own evidence. Okay, that's not allowed, but it is if nobody objects, and nobody objected. And I'm sitting there going to my lawyer, what are you doing sitting there? She's doing something wrong. And I couldn't say that to him. You're not allowed to do that either, are you? So, my lawyer was wanting to see where this was going, and he was very smart to do so, because Judge Roll stopped it. And she says, Your Honor. And I'm sitting there going, you're supposed to be talking to me. Anyway, she says, Your Honor, why in the first 4 months of the Brady Bill, we have done 250,000 checks and we've denied hundreds of thousands of felons from gaining access to guns in this country. And Judge Roll stopped her. And he goes, Counselor, do not try to pretend in this courtroom that your statistical analysis somehow equates to constitutionality. You see, that's what they're trying to do to us today.